Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Daze and welcome to this review video. We got so much to go through, so let's get started. The show opens with The Rock, and on his Titantron it had Final Boss and it had an image of The Rock as well. I've not seen that before, but he came down with all of that. There was a sign in the crowd that said Dijak is better than The Rock, which I enjoyed, and I think Dijak probably enjoyed it as well. The Rock then went off about last week. He said about how he beat up Cody, made him bleed, put it on the belt, the blood on the belt. He said it just needs the tears of Mama Rhodes now. Crowd started chanting loud what chants, which was cool. And he said last week he told Cody what he said, what he whispered, and that was, "Tonight I'll make you bleed." Of course, he lived up to that, and the Cody crybabies didn't like that. And he says some reactions actually stopped Rock in his tracks. And he showed us a couple of kids that were upset. There was one little girl, we did show it on Unseen, where she was upset and her mom asks her what's wrong. And she says, "Cody just died," which I thought was fun. I didn't know that they were going to be showing those. But yeah, that was good. And he says, look, get your kids. Because Uncle Rock's gonna, teach him a life lesson. And he says, kids, there are moments in life where people have to do what people have to do. He says, right now, professional wrestling is cool, and it's all because of one man, The Rock. He's really putting himself over. He goes on to say that this is the biggest gate in Raw history. He said the final boss has come back to Brooklyn, but The Rock didn't come alone. And out comes Roman Reigns. He comes out with the rest of the bloodline as well. So he comes out with the rest of the bloodline. He comes out with Heyman and Jimmy and Solo. Roman said, look at my hoodie. It's family above all, and I've come to acknowledge my family. And I really wanted to hear what he was going to say at this point, but the crowd started yeeting. There was yeet chants, which really took Roman by surprise. And he says, if you continue that, I'm off. So they, of course, they get louder. Roman sort of apologizes for them to The Rock. I'm sorry for these idiots. And he said, look, I want to thank my cousin because this is going to be the easiest WrestleMania of my life. We're going to win on night 1. It's going to be Bloodline Rules night 2. And then I'll have my way with Cody. Terrifying. And he says, look, last week he whooped Cody. I want to thank you again. You set the example that only the final boss can set. Cody isn't fit to fill these shoes. Talking about himself. I do feel like if we look back at this bit, there might be a few little looks, a few little moments, right? We know that these kind of moments have had those little Easter eggs. And actually what people were saying in the chat is that Rock doesn't acknowledge Roman. Rock doesn't acknowledge Roman. I haven't had a chance to look to see if that is true, because I am literally recording this as soon as the live stream has finished. So that is definitely something that would be worth a look. We know that we've had all this before, right? So it would be interesting to see if The Rock at any point doesn't acknowledge Roman. If everyone else is and he isn't, that would be interesting. So he says that Cody was off doing a whole lot of nothing in 2020. This is Roman. He says, we built this mountain. This is our mountain. He thinks he's going to come and take this away. And as he was talking, Seth came through the crowds. So Seth came through the crowd and he said, look, if you want to pull a similar stunt with me, like a beatdown, you'll have to take on me and all of Brooklyn, because he's in the crowds and the crowd are properly with him. He said, I want to fight tonight, and Brooklyn, you deserve the biggest main event of all time. So he challenges The Rock or Roman, whoever's got the balls. And The Rock said, look, you challenged the final boss. You challenged the tribal chief. Didn't you see what I did to Cody? That boy's got brain damage now. You don't want that. There's loud Rocky sucks chants. And then Solo grabs the mic and he says, tonight you're fighting me. Seth says you're on, which was weird because we were being sort of teased Seth Roman, Seth Rock, and then we end up with Seth Solo. Does feel like a big step down, to be honest. He says you're on, and Rock said, okay, well, here's the thing, though. It's going to be Bloodline Rules. So Bloodline Rules tonight. So there we go. Bloodline Rules, Seth versus Solo. So that was our main event sorted. This thing took about half an hour, 40 minutes. It was captivating. It was engrossing. I was really enjoying it. Never really got out of first gear. There might be the odd moment that we kind of flicked into second momentarily, and then we went back to first. It was fine. It was entertaining. I mean, I don't have any complaints. But as we said, it set up the main event, and that was about that. If there are Easter eggs in there, though, that would be interesting. And so I asked the community what they thought. So if you've not seen these reviews before, we grade all the matches out of all time, great, good, okay, and bad. We got those 4 options, right? All time, great, good, okay, and bad. So obviously you don't want to be in bad. The next one would be good, okay, then it's great, then it's all time. This came out as great, 60% great. That was the rating for this promo. So I thought that was interesting. 21% of people thought it was all time. 39% of people thought it was great. 31% of people thought it was good. 7% thought it was bad. So that's how the voting kind of spread. So, yeah, people seem to get somewhat from that. And as I said, it was very entertaining. I was not bored. Right, then we saw Rhea and Becky brawling on Ariel Helwani. And then we got the announcement that all 4 belts will be above the ring for the tag match. Both sets of belts must be removed. And I really feel like this is foreshadowing 2 teams grabbing a set of belts each. We spoke about that in the predictions video. We've already done our WrestleMania predictions. You can find them on the channel. And I feel like that was foreshadowing that. So, yeah, that is definitely something to keep an eye on. They made it very clear how that's going to work with the 6-pack challenge tag title match at WrestleMania. Then we went to Judgment Day, taking on DIY and New Day. Now, apparently, Johnny picked up a slight knock in this match, which I didn't see, but Sean Ross Sapp tweeted out saying that it's fine. He's fine, right? So, Sean Ross Sapp tweeted out that he's okay. Judgment Day get the win thanks to Damian Priest. It got a good 92 rating, so we're down in good. We couldn't get into that great territory. It got good 92. Then we were backstage, and we had Rock and Roman. Roman said that he was going to leave because he was going to have to work on a speech. And this is where Heyman said, if you didn't catch that, Roman has just confirmed that he will be inducting me, the wise man, into the Hall of Fame this Friday. And he does a bit of a, advert. So there we go. We found out who's going to induct Heyman. It's Roman. Don't know the reaction to that. I don't think people will be down on it. Roman's one of the biggest stars in WWE history. It's a great honor. Everyone will have had their own thoughts as to who they wanted, though. Don't know that too many people would have wanted Roman, but it's not really a problem. I don't have an issue with it, to be honest. It's not who I would have chose, but if it's who Paul chose, then fair play. Paul likes to work a lot all the time, so it probably from a storyline makes sense that he would want his tribal chief to be the one to do it. Maybe that was part of Paul's thinking, So there we go. Then we had this Performance Center, Chad and Sami at the Performance Center getting ready for Gunther. And so Sami was putting the work in. They were watching footage. They were training. And he's really pushing Sami hard here, Chad. And Sami is like, what's going on? Why are you pushing me so hard? And Chad said, I think your hunger has gone. And Sami looks startled, but he does then admit that he's just afraid of letting people down again. That's really what's been holding him back, because he doesn't want to see that look of disappointment on his wife's face again. I think he's still scarred from Montreal, Doesn't matter that he won at WrestleMania after, in the main event. I think he's still carries that weight of Montreal and Elimination Chamber. I really like that bit. And then they get back to work. And then actually it was time for Sami's match. So we did go to Sami's match next. Just before we did that, though, we had Legado entering the Judgment Day room, the Judgment Day clubhouse. They were not happy about this. Dominik had invited them. Honestly, watching Santos trying to throw a dart was kind of hilarious because it kind of felt like he'd never picked up a dart before, which very much could be true. But they've got a dartboard and they were having a little go on that. And yeah, Rhea was like, you didn't tell us we were getting company. And Damian was not happy at all. Rhea said, we've got to work on this communication. So Dominik seemingly upsetting people, right, bringing in Legado. And I really can't tell where they're going with this story. Obviously, we know that he's got a little something going on with Andrade as well. And now he's bringing in Legado. And we know that he's got a tag match with Santos. So it makes sense. But what's the end goal of all of this? What's the end goal with the Andrade stuff? What's the end goal with the Legado stuff? What's the end goal with Judgment Day getting upset? Like, I don't know. I can't quite tell where we're going at the moment. But that was that anyway. And then we went to the Sami match. So this came out as 94% goods. Sami and Bronson, it's perfectly fine. I mean, it was a decent little contest. But Gunther comes out during the match, dumps Chad down, beaten up. Sami goes over to help Chad. Sami then gets beaten up by Gunther. And it's a pretty brutal attack as well. I didn't catch what the result of this match was. The result doesn't really matter. But people seem to think Sami won by DQ because Gunther attacked him. It easily could have been Bronson winning by countout because Sami was out of the ring quite a while checking on Chad. So if the ref had been counting, you know, it could be a Bronson win by count out. It could be a Sami win by DQ. It could be a no contest. So I've not seen what the official result is. At the moment, I'm leaning that Sami won by DQ. We'll have to double check that. But that's how that basically played out with both Sami and Chad down after Gunther had attacked. Backstage, we got Jey Uso, and he bumped into Lil Wayne. He invited him to WrestleMania, and Lil Wayne said that he was going to premiere his brand new single. So there we go. Lil Wayne is going to be at WrestleMania. So here's confirmation that Paul Heyman will be inducted by Roman Reigns, and here is Triple H with Lil Wayne. You might think that's like a Fiend because of the hair, but it isn't. It's Lil Wayne. Right, then we got Ivy Nile and Maxxine Dupri. They were taking on Candice and Indi. Obviously, there's a lot of history here. Ivy and Maxxine won. Not in a very good match, though. It got 77% goods, right? So really quite low down on that good scale. Indi got knocked into Candice. Candice went to the outside. Indi flopped back into the ring and then got pinned. Got pinned by Maxxine Dupri. And that was something that Candice was pointing out. She was like, you just got beat by Maxxine Dupri. Like it was the worst thing in the world. Which, I mean, honestly, it might be. So she got pinned by Maxxine Dupri. That did not go down very well, as we said, with Candice. And I'm very interested to see if there's going to be a backstage interview where Candice kind of lets her feelings known. So, yeah. Then we got some news that we're going to get Rock and Roman on Jimmy Fallon. And then we got some news that Lia Maivia is, I think it's Leah, it might be Leia. I don't know. But she is now been announced as the next inductee into Hall of Fame. Apparently, this was announced by The Rock on his Instagram, but I've not seen this yet. And Lia Maivia was a promoter of a territory after the High Chief passed away. She's regarded as one of the first female promoters, one of the first female owners of a territory, trailblazer in that regard. So I don't know anything about her. I'll be perfectly honest. I'm looking forward to finding out more. So, yeah, this one was one that was expected. I'm surprised it took this long to kind of announce it, but very well deserved. So that was announced. Then we got this, which I really thought was Bo standing over a casket, which I thought was quite dark, but it was quite a light room. It felt well, not positive, but it felt, you know, not like dark and like, you know, depressing. But it was actually Drew. It was Drew standing over a casket, and he was eulogizing over CM Punk's WrestleMania main event plans. And he speaks about beating Seth as well. It's just a little troll vignette, which was done very well. Look in my eyes. What do you see? Drew McIntyre just held a eulogy. And look at these as well. The Drew McIntyre next to his hashtag. Very cool. Triple H with a few words about Lia Maivia. And the Andre the Giant Battle Royal will be this Friday. Right, there's Ricochet. So Ricochet was having a match, and Ricochet against Ivar. It was amazing at one point. He grabbed Ivar in midair and then did a fall away slam. Really caught people's attention, right? This got a 94% good rating with Ricochet securing the win. Samantha, you could see her in the background jumping up in celebration. She was very, very excited that Ricochet had secured the victory. You can see here, minds blown as these two were competing. So they battled away. Ricochet got the win. Then we went back to the Judgment Day clubhouse, and Damian said he doesn't understand why Ricochet has not been dealt with yet. JD at that point said, I will deal with him in the Andre Battle Royal on Friday. This is where Dominik said, look, if that doesn't work, then I know someone that can deal with it. And in came Andrade. So Andrade came in, and Dominik said to him, like, look, if you take care of our Ricochet problem, then, you know, we'll make you a member of the group. Andrade seemed to sort of be interested in that. He doesn't fit Judgment Day, so I don't know what's going on there. There was a little moment where Andrade and Santos, like, acknowledged each other. I don't know what's happening there. All of this is leaving me confused. I really don't know where any of this is going. Is Dominik leaving Judgment Day? Is Andrade coming into Judgment Day? Is Dominik joining Legado? Is Dominik joining Andrade? Is Dominik and Andrade going to end up having a match? Like, is Andrade going to lose against Ricochet? And then is Dominik going to berate Andrade and it's going to lead to friction? I don't know. I really don't know where it's going. I'm looking forward to finding out, though. Then we got to our next segment, which was Becky. She came down to the ring. This was 2 hours in now. So she came down to the ring and she said, we don't have to wait. Get out here, Rhea. Adam Pearce came out and went, no, you do need to wait. Then a load of security came out. Rhea Ripley appeared. She burst through security just so that she could get to Becky. And obviously, big brawl. Security separates them. Becky does the crossbody to the outside. Loads of people fall down. Rhea goes down, the security goes down. Security do separate them eventually, but it's just a fun little segment, really, just designed to build up, you know, the excitement for their match at WrestleMania. Then we got this. Wow, didn't expect this. Clash at the Castle is going to be announced on social platforms for a city and a venue from tomorrow. It's believed to be on June 15th. And we think it's going to be in Scotland. We think that because the colours are white and blue, which is the Scottish colours. It looks all really dark and depressing, the graphic, and that would fit Scotland. And then we've also got this like lion in the sea, which apparently is the Scottish lion. And then on top of that, there's also a graphic doing the round saying Glasgow. That'll do it, won't it? So this really feels like Scotland is getting a premium live event, which has come out of nowhere. The first time I heard about this was 24 hours ago. 24 hours ago, I got tagged in a communication about Clash at the Castle being in Scotland in June, and it was from a source I have never heard of. And so I was like, don't know, looks fake, haven't heard anything, let's keep an eye on it. 24 hours later, here we are. Crazy, innit? Crazy. So, yeah, Clash at the Castle, expected to be in Scotland. Right, Roman Reigns just acknowledging he'll be on Jimmy Fallon. What match are you most excited for at WrestleMania? Roman against Cody. Duh. Then we had Seth backstage. So Seth was backstage and I think he bumps into Drew and they just have a few little words. I think just before or after this, we had Damage Control take on Tegan Nox, Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. Not really much to this match. It was 86% goods. I mean, it was fine. It made very, very little impression on me. One thing that Seth did say in this part, though, was that he's got a plan B. So he makes his way out to the ring, and then we go to our main event, Bloodline Rules, Seth versus Solo Sikoa. And this was fun, but I mean, I don't know that it's not finished. Bloodline Rules means that anything can go, right? No DQ. So we do get a load of people coming down, but I never saw a count out. I never saw a pin. I never saw a submission. To my knowledge, this match is still going. But the show does end, right? So these two are fighting. There's about half an hour left. Battling away. The score comes out as 61% great. Even though we don't know the result, even though we don't know who won, it's still got a 61% great rating because I think people are counting the Rock and Roman stuff that follows, which is fine. Makes sense. So they're battling away. People are going through tables. It's a good contest. Jimmy interferes, which then brings out Jey Uso, right? So Jey Uso comes out. He attacks Jimmy. They go to the back. Then all of a sudden, Jey goes flying, right? And that's because The Rock has arrived. The Rock comes out, makes his way down to the ring. That then brings out Cody. Cody comes down like a bullet out of a gun. We hadn't seen or heard about Cody all night, but he comes racing down just like a shook-up bottle of soda. He comes down just going crazy. Crowd are going crazy. And then Roman attacks. Roman hadn't left. And then he starts attacking. And so from that point, it's just full-on advantage, Bloodline. So it's Roman, it's Rock, they're beating down the spears to Cody and to Seth, and then the Rock takes off his belt, and it's Cody's belt. It's the one they sell at the arenas. It's a blue belt with American Nightmare on, and he just starts whipping away and wailing away on Cody and Seth. It is brutal. It's so brutal. The crowd are chanting for CM Punk. They want CM Punk to come and save the day. I don't know why, because we all know he's got a busted arm. We don't see CM Punk at all. That was disappointing. But beating him down. And basically it ends with them standing tall. It ends with Rock and Roman. Here they are, look, standing together. Let's see if we can pause it. And they're just holding up their belts. There's Roman with the undisputed Universal Championship. There's The Rock with Cody's blue American Nightmare belt that he has absolutely decimated Cody with in the ring. And Seth. It felt at times a little bit like the live action version of what we had backstage on Raw last week. You know, this time it was in the ring. Just beating him down. It was brutal stuff. Good though. Satisfying though. And honestly, I need to ponder my score. So whilst I'm pondering my score, let's jump over to the matches. This is how all the matches played out. So you can see Ivy Nile against Candice and Indi, bottom one. Then we had Damage Control. That was 86. Judgment Day, 92. Sami Zayn, 94. Ricochet against Ivar did well. That was also 94. One great match, which was Seth and Solo. And as we said, that match might still be going. 61%. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was not the most exciting in ring-wise, but you know, probably did what it needed to do. This is where we are for the year so far. So Nia and Becky, the first match of the year. I think that was maybe us just getting our bearings. So I feel like that should actually be more around here. It was good. Nia getting the shock win was interesting. I would have no problem with it being great. I feel like that's probably too high. So for me, I think Ilya Trick is still the match of the year for WWE. Lyra against Roxanne and Lola cashing in her breakout tournament contract was excellent. I mean, I've no problems with that being up there. Judgment Day against DIY, Bailey winning the Royal Rumble, and then surprisingly Rhea against Ivy Nile. People really enjoyed that. But to be honest with you, that's another match that happened on the very first show of the year. So that might be another one that's just sort of benefited from the excitement of, like, you know, the first show of the year. So maybe if we regraded that one might also be a bit lower down. But yeah, that's how we're looking for the year. And show-wise, we don't know at this stage. People are still putting in their thoughts. You can go and vote if you go over to Wrestling Daze Clips. So if you go to Wrestling Daze Clips, you can vote over there for what you thought about the show. We've got an exclusive interview with Maxxine Dupri that's dropped. An exclusive interview with Judgment Day backstage. Looks like there's one here with Ricochet from an hour ago. If we refresh this, we'll see if there's any new ones. No, that's still the last thing on the WWE official Twitter account, X account, social media account. So all that's left to do is tell you my score, to be honest. And I like the start. I like the end. I think the stuff in the middle, it's definitely a step down, but it was entertaining. We found out loads. Clash at the Castle. Who's going to induct Paul Heyman? We got a little bit further in the Candice Indi story. Ivar against Ricochet was fun. Sami against Bronson was fun. And then, of course, he gets beat up. It was a step down. There is a dip in quality interest, if you will. I mean, we open hot with Rock and Roman and Seth. And, you know, we open with that. We end with the brutal beatdown. I mean, there's nothing really in the middle that can match those. So I think for me, I'm probably looking at a 6.5. Feel like that's fair because I think that takes into account the really fun start, really fun end. And I think it takes into account maybe the bit of the dip. But there are moments and there are announcements. And I was not bored watching this show. I was not, but I can't say this was a bad show. A bad show to me is I'm bored, but there was always stuff that was happening, always announcements, always this thing was moving forward. Things never really outstayed their welcome, you know. So I'm going to go with the 6.5. Some people might think that's harsh, but I got to tell you, some people might think that that's generous. It felt like there was a lot of people that really weren't feeling this, but then there was a lot of people that were just really enjoying it for what it was. So I think I'm probably just going to sit in the middle with the 6.5. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. A big thank you to everyone that joined us for the live stream. Don't forget we're here for live streams for NXT. Loads of stuff, including SmackDown, Hall of Fame, and of course, Wrestlemania this weekend. Massive, huge, can't miss it. Make sure you join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll be live all throughout this weekend for Stand and Deliver and Wrestlemania and all of that good stuff. So thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate the support as always. See you next time. Bye for now.